Thanks for joining us today. Part of our safety video series today, I wanted to talk a little bit about plants. This very morning, I've seen 2 patients already today with poison ivy. There's poison ivy, there's poison oak, and there's things like sumac, as well as other plants that kind of fit into a family of plants that we call toxicodendron. If you want to use that word on Jeopardy someday. Most commonly, if you're a little up there in the woods and you grew up in the Midwest, you've heard of the leaves of 3 let it be. That is true. However, there are some nuances, and particularly with poison oak, depending on the age and stage of these plants, they still run the risk of causing these allergic reactions. About 85% of the population has the risk of reacting to poison ivy. Typically, we call poison ivy and plant rashes type 4 reaction versus another type of allergic reaction, a type 1. So both of these are type of allergic reactions, but with poison ivy and oak, these are the type of reactions that are called delayed. So if you have friends that are allergic to medicines or food, typically these we take right away, and within minutes to an hour you get hives. Poison plants are contact, so you have to come into contact with these sort of oils or plants. Urushiol is an oil, it's a colorless, odorless oil that's found on these plants, and it gets on our skin, and that's what really causes the problems. The tricky thing about this oil is this can survive for weeks and months off of the body, even on inanimate objects. So commonly I'll see someone who had been camping maybe 2 months ago, didn't have any exposure, and then they put on the same sleeping bag and they come in with a poison ivy rash, and they're puzzled how this happened. So the key is that anything that allows these oils to survive, pets, gardening tools, rags, gloves, clothing, this oil can survive even up to a year, some experts believe. First off, if you get poison ivy exposure right away, the first thing to do is just simply wash it off. Ideally, warm water, or if you have to use cool water, soap is the best, and the sooner the better. Some experts say if it's been after an hour, most of the oils that are going to be exposed have already been there. Of course, prevention is key, so having long clothes, long hats, wearing leather gloves, keeping those types of things to prevent the poison ivy would be ideal. So some of you perhaps have even had this where you've gone into the office and you've been given steroids. These are stronger steroids than what you can get over the counter. These are steroid creams that the sooner you get started, the better, but they won't immediately help the relief. With that, again, that's the cool compresses, calamine lotion, even aloe. And then the steroid creams we'll give for cases where people have limited breakout, but then when it's real bad, we give some steroids by mouth, commonly things like prednisone. You can get injections of steroids, but most experts often find that oral steroids work best. That also will depend on what areas of the body are affected in terms of how it would apply. The best treatment is prevention. Once you've had poison ivy, it will resolve on its own in most people in 3 to 4 weeks, but even with treatment, it can take 1 to 3 weeks. What we recommend here when you get a bad case of it is the itching. You can take a little bit of Benadryl at night, but unfortunately, the way that poison ivy causes problems is it works through a different type of histamine or itch mechanism. So you'll often find that Benadryl or Claritin or loratadine, any of those antihistamines don't typically work as well because it's a different type of reaction. However, certainly it's reasonable to try if you need some relief, especially at night. Beyond that, most poison ivy will heal fine. Most people will have no issues down the road, and they'll remember where they found it. We would caution you, if you're going to remove this from property or land, it can get inhaled, so those oils can even be inhaled, so don't stand right next to the burn pile, get back from it a ways. But other than that, if you have any questions or concerns, we're happy to see you here. Be safe out there, get out there and enjoy, and take a look at these pictures too to know what poison ivy and any of these plants so you don't have these problems. Thank you for joining us.